welcome back to another project driver video. Today, or I guess in this video, I'm going to be starting on the coilover install for my Landcruiser. I picked up some King 2.5 inch by 14 travel with external reservoirs. I chose to just, or not get their adjustable ones, I guess. So anyways, I have to start pulling the front end apart. I don't remember, well, I guess no one's seen these. I welded up a set of DIY bead locks and got it all painted and installed, and then pretty much just parked the vehicle for the past couple months. I've had the coilovers for 2 or 3 months now as well. And then once I get some stuff torn off, I'll kind of show you guys what I had done for the whole front end, all the high steer and hydro assist and all that. So let me start getting some wheels pulled off here. Now that I got the wheels off, I'll give you a breakdown of what I've done to this so far. I did 3-link on the front. I have front range off-road high steer knuckles. I made the, what is it? I don't know, the steering arms, whatever they're called, using Heim joints here. Added hydro assist in there, got it all tucked up nice and high. On the passenger side for the panhard bar, let me grab my light real quick. I can stick that on there. There we go. I made the axle mount for the panhard bar kind of come up and over, so the steering arm here will actually turn underneath it a bit, but then that gets it so the panhard bar, I guess there's 2 things. You want your panhard bar and your, what is it, drag link to be parallel, but you also want them to be the same length so you don't get any bump steer. What else? Oh yeah, I did the anti-rock universal sway bar, anti-sway bar. And then also a couple years ago, I did 5th gen 4Runner calipers and rotors. So hopefully all that makes sense. If not, I won't put it in. Also, I forgot to mention, I built a truss for the axle. Kind of see it up in there. So that's how I was able to get the steering assist arm up so high. And then I also used it to mount my sway bar, which I think after I do the coilover, since it's such a tight fit, I'm going to move all this further forward and then build new end links for that. So I'll get better footage as I get this thing torn apart. All right, I got the axle removed from underneath the vehicle. I used the Pivotal Manufacturing jack stand dollies to roll it out. And I guess now here's a better view of everything I had done. So you can see the axle truss I built there. So all the brake lines, I guess the hydro assist kind of in there. And then all my oil leaks. which is nice. Right here for this arm that I was talking about, you can see how I built the bracket to go up and over, and then this pivots underneath it. Right there, and then the upper link mount, and I guess hydro assist again on the front. I don't know, I guess that's really all to say about that. It's heavy. Sides off. I'll do the other side real quick. I just came through with the plasma cutter on the top part and then used my cutoff wheel for a lot of these welds down here. I got it loose, so I'm just gonna hit it with the hammer a couple times. All right, there's one of the first parts off the frame. I came through on this, I think my head's off, on the frame plate thing I had made here, and just started cutting around the welds as well. But next I'm going to do this frame shock tower here. I got the coil buckets and shock tower off, and I could have done a little bit better of a job behind the steering box where I built that brace. It was kind of a pain in the butt to get that X weld I had down in there. And then also through here, it kind of got into the frame some. So I'm going to get the welder out, weld all that up, grind it flat again, and then get the rest of this cleaned up. And then I will still have a whole other side to do. So I think that was about, I don't know, maybe 2.5 hours from getting the axle slid out to where I'm at now. So got another, the other side will actually be a lot easier because I don't have to do the extra frame plate that I had added in. So I don't know, maybe another 2 hours of work. It's a couple days later. I cleaned up some more of the frame, and then I started designing the first section of the frame plate. My plasma table isn't long enough to do, well, it might be, but not long enough to do this whole piece in one piece. So I'm going to do 2, and then I'm going to hide the seam behind the coilover tower. My first measurements weren't on the dot, so I have everything written out of how I'm going to adjust my holes. So I'm going to get those adjusted in Fusion and then cut out another test piece. I'm just using like 1/8 inch plate there for my test parts, and then the final pieces will be 3/16. So anyways, I'm going to run upstairs on my computer and adjust those measurements and then cut it out again, and then I'll update you. Got the coilover tower fully welded up and somewhat welded to the frame and the coilover in, and it's sitting on its own weight on this side at about what ride height will be, and I think that turned out pretty good. You can kind of see the top of the tower there. And then, oh, I don't remember if I had shown, I had to notch the steering box, so I got a piece of 3.5 inch quarter wall tubing, and then cut out the tower Right, bam, right there to notch around. I kind of screwed up. I should have dropped this whole center line down like a quarter to half inch. I was having some clearance issues with the bolts on the steering shaft. Right, I don't know, right there. But I was able to make it work and it all clears. So next, what I have to do is start cutting off the passenger side and then cut out my frame plates and the shock tower stuff, get it all welded together. On the passenger side though, I'm gonna have to remove the air box. Probably mostly, oops, I can't, damn camera. Move all this stuff and then I might work on doing like a battery relocation because, also I don't think I had shown, I cut out the fender. Where's the piece at? Right here, it's like 4 inches. I had cut out to gain some up travel room. But this section right here, with the coilover out and me lifting the axle with the tire on, the tire just smashes right into this. So I think I'm gonna do, I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, so I'll get back on that part. And then here, this is, I think, where I'm gonna mount the reservoir. I'll probably have to build a heat shield and then get some exhaust wrap to prevent this from boiling inside. I don't know, future problems. All right, quick update on whatever I'm doing. I started disassembling the axle and I cut off the coil spring mounts, which leaves this nice flat area here. Let's see, you see it there as well. I think what I'm gonna do is cut a 1/4 inch plate and weld it onto here, and then that's where I'll weld my coilover tabs to. On this side with the panhard bar, I have it tied into this mount, so I didn't want to cut that all up. And then that should give me like a nice flat even surface on both sides to mount those axle tabs to. So it's just an idea I'm playing with right now. I'm going to try to get some things fit up and see if that works. Got the Landcruiser sitting on its own weight. I have some jack stands down there just in case. But I finished both coil towers and got the plates semi-welded on, enough to set it on its weight. And then I put a ratchet strap across the top. I did set it down before and these did not move at all. But just since I had it sitting overnight, just a precaution. But anyways, I found this bar here sitting in my scrap to use as a test piece to kind of get an idea for what I want to do for my crossbar. I think what I want to do is figure out some sort of bolting, a plate that bolts onto the towers on each side, and then I will weld the bar to that, just so that way it's removable. I'm hoping eventually when I do the V8 swap, I'll have enough room, which I think I should. But anyways, that'll be a future problem. It's sitting a little low right now in the front, but other than that, I am excited with how it turned out. So let me do some thinking on these mounts, and then I'll start cutting it out and then get some bar or tubing bent up for that. I guess I should also say I had to remove the airbox, and it's not going to fit back into where it was before, so I'm going to have to build a custom airbox and then an intake tube and all that. So just more work. Got the coilover tower brace pieces. I don't know what they're called or what I'm calling them, but I got them all cut out, welded up, and bolted on to the tower for both sides. And now I have my piece of tubing set up in the tube bender, based off of this piece that I had found. I think I like the 22 degree, so I'm going to make two 22 degree bends and somehow figure out how to get my spacing right, and then I'll get it tacked on there. I probably won't be able to explain any of this in a way that makes sense, but I am doing a rough drawing on the ground of my tower spacing. So I have straight line, and then it's 28 3/4, but I just bumped it up to 29 inches. And then, yeah, to be honest, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but in my mind it makes sense. But anyway, so now I just got to bend this to 22 degrees. I use my cheater bar here to draw my line and put it down on my new piece, and then I'll get the bent up piece in, and then I'll just use these lines here to make my cuts. Yeah, I don't know, I'm not great at explaining anything. Well, my first bar was a fail. I wanted it to roll forward in front of all this, but it's hitting, I don't know, whatever all that crap is. So instead of doing 22 degree angle, I'll probably do closer to 30 for each side. So that'll push this bar more further forward so I can clear all that. And then also this side, I didn't cut it very good. It's kind of a gap on this side, but this one was nice and flush. So take two. So last night I got the bar bent up how I wanted and mostly weld on. So you can see I did actually bumped it up to 35 degrees just to push it further forward. I might have to redo it. It is getting like, it's touching this hose here, and there's another nipple here that I'm probably gonna have to add a 90 into. So I might do 45 degrees or even higher just to push this forward. It's kind of bumping up over the engine as well. I don't know. I didn't know if I was going to look goofy forward or not. Maybe I'll just leave it for now. But anyways, now I'm going to work on the mounts for the reservoirs. I'm not sure if I want to mount them down here or if it would look cooler or just, well, look cool, but also work out better having them mounted up here. It's possible when I turn and the axle is articulating that the tire will contact that. So I already designed up my, not sure how well this can show on my computer, but this is what I'm thinking for my coil reservoir mount. So these parts here, the hose clamps will kind of bite into a little bit, and then the whole reservoir will mount on there. And then this is going to be a bend line, so this will fold 90 degrees over so it can mount to this, whoop, getting out of control, so it can mount to the side of that coil tower. So I got my piece set up here. I'm going to cut it out, and then we'll see if it fits on there. Here it is, fresh off the table. My first cut got messed up. I don't know if it's the program I'm using or the table or something, but sometimes when you're cutting in the middle, it just goes haywire and stops cutting, or will do some weird stuff. So I had to do a second cut there. So I'll just knock off the slag and then put it in the vise and get that bent up. what I do is I'll have that cut line there, and it has, I do about a 1/4 inch on each side, and then I just stick it in the vise, and then usually you can either just use your hand and bend it over. Give it a couple whacks with a hammer. And then you, whoa. Then you got yourself a piece. Let me try to kind of test fit this in there. I changed up the reservoir mount. I got rid of this arc. Just it wasn't needed in order to get it to fit better. So I made it straight, and then I'm going to clamp it onto the tower and mark out my holes and drill them. And then if I ever need to change it in the future, I can just use this bolt pattern and change up the rest of the design. So anyways, so I'm kind of thinking is this part here, we'll hose clamp to that, and then mount somewhere like that. Maybe straight. Anyways, yeah. Off camera, I went through and got everything welded up on both sides, and then also installed the reservoir mount on the other side as well. So as far as the coilover install goes, it's finished. I could bolt everything back up and send it. I still want to go through and do a couple other things. I want to add some dual shear to the steering knuckle and high steer arm, and then I got to change up my power steering assist lines and a few other things. Right now David is designing my new airbox, so I'll see that in a future video and hopefully get him on here as well. I lost a bunch of footage designing and cutting out the coilover tower, so that was a bummer. I'll try to do a little better in future videos on keeping things more fluid and showing everybody what's going on. But anyways, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching.